Hey, it's Stock Bro, the real day trader at Beverly Hills, in front of Beverly Hills High School, and I wanted to quickly make a video. Let's move over here because I'm freezing. I want to quickly make a video. I need to be in the sun. It's good here. I want to quickly make a video about SPACs because on Friday I purchased a SPAC that I think could be interesting. So a SPAC, SPAC, stands for Special Purpose Acquisition. Basically, what they do is they have IPOs, and there's these companies that are like these kind of shell companies with the intent that they have a plan to merge with another company. Sometimes they tell you what the company is that they plan to merge with. Sometimes they tell you the industry group, but they're often created by people who are entrepreneurs, who are already established, who are renowned, and who, you know, the investor pool that they're going to go to raise money will trust, and will actually give them money just knowing that they plan on doing something interesting and they plan on merging with a company that they will be able to help grow and do something with. So that said, SPACs raised about $60-70 billion in 2020, which is 12 times more than what they raised about 5 years ago. So they've been getting a lot of attention, and I thought it's a perfect time to go over what they are, especially since there is a SPAC that was started by Richard Branson of Virgin Airlines and also Virgin Galactic, also, which was taken public via a SPAC. So that said, Richard Branson decided to start a SPAC last year, and he had different areas that he wanted to invest in and was saying he was going to raise capital, and then he would go and he would partner with a company, and whatever company he's going to merge with, then that company would go public. They would be listed on the New York Stock Exchange. So what did he do? He kept it vague. He raised about $480 million. Now remember, with this SPAC, when you raise money, they're always at about $10 a share. I believe that's a fixed amount for SPACs. They issue shares at $10 a share. In this case, it was 48 million shares, so they raised $480 million. Then they also come with warrants. Warrants are like call options. So everyone that invested in Richard Branson's SPAC, which is VGAC at the moment, Virgin Galactic Acquisition Company, everybody that gave money and received shares of that, they also received 1/3 of a warrant for every share that they bought. So that means for every 3 shares they bought, they have 1 warrant. Now, they bought these shares of the SPAC at $10 a share. They now have a warrant to buy more shares at $11.50. The strike price on the warrant, which like I said, is like a call option, is $11.50. So all this to say, they raised $480 million, and if these investors would like to exercise their warrants, they're going to buy another 16 million shares of the company at $11.50, which comes out to be so it'd be about $184 million additional capital. So all this to say, the company that Richard Branson has decided to merge with is 23andMe, the DNA testing company, which is the leader in its industry group. The main competitor is Ancestry.com, and everybody knows that 23andMe has done it better and has basically taken the lead in this. So when it was announced, I think on February 4th, was it, that they were going to take over 23andMe, they were going to merge with 23andMe, the SPAC went from around $12-13 a share. It went all the way up as high as $18 a share. So people were excited about this because 23andMe is obviously it's innovative. It's already collected about 12 million samples of people's saliva. You know what it does is it tests. You send in your saliva, and then it does testing on it, analysis on it, and then it will tell you in an email and also through the app who your ancestors were. The breakdown of it, it'll say, sometimes it's very specific. I did it, for example, I found out that I was 80% Italian, and then, then they tell you, oh, but then you're part Southern. There's a certain mix that's like Southern Europe, and then there's a part of you that's, from the Middle East, and it was like little, percentages here and there. And then it keeps updating. The more data points they collect, and that's what they're doing now. They keep collecting data points, about DNA, human DNA, and then your profile continues to update. You can do other things with it as well. They use it for, it can tell you if you're predisposed to certain health conditions, cancer, diabetes. There's a lot of stuff out there. There's so much that they can tell from your analyzing your DNA, and it's really a revolutionary thing going on. And I think, Richard Branson can see that. So Richard Branson is merging with 23andMe with this SPAC in March of 2021. After March of 2021, because they said the second quarter of 2021, what will happen was VGAC, Virgin Galactic Acquisition Company, will vote on this merger with 23andMe. And if they approve it, which they will, Fidelity is one of the investors. I think they put in 100 million or so. These guys aren't going to, they always approve this because they trust Richard Branson and what he's doing. And that's why they gave him money without knowing what he was going to do from the onset. And so once that happens, the merger will happen. The ticker will go from VGAC to ME. And then it allows 23andMe to have an IPO without having to go through the process of doing the IPO themselves. Them merging with this SPAC, it kind of like let them do all the admin and all the work and deal with all of that and the SEC. And now 23andMe will be publicly traded. They're going to end up with about $1 billion almost in capital that they can now use for research, for marketing, whatever it takes to grow the company. They also have Richard Branson behind them, who clearly can see paths, new revenue streams, and can help the company grow in ways that they probably didn't, they aren't able to do themselves because they're probably, they're made up of more scientists than anything else. One thing also I wanted to say with SPACs is if say I started a SPAC with the intent of merging with a company and I had investors give me money at $10 a share and I raised $500 million, say, I have 2 years to find a merger candidate. If I don't find one, then I give the money back to the investors. So that's how these things work. They can rest on their laurels, so to speak, and can get investors to give them money, and then they can go and take these companies public. Companies that might not have thought they ever wanted to go public or just thought it's too much of an undertaking right now because they want to focus on just, the company itself. And they don't have time to worry about going on road shows, because if you're going to have an IPO, you have to go on a road show. You basically visit, the major cities like New York, or you go to London and Hong Kong, and you basically drum up interest in your IPO. And it's a lot of work, and I think this is just a really great way to bypass that, get capital for your company, and have somebody who knows a little bit more about growing a company and has a bit more experience to help you grow your company. So I think this is a win-win. The stock went up to $18. Those who bought shares at $10 are clearly going to start profit taking. That's an 80% return. So it came back down to 14. I bought shares because I think 23andMe, GlaxoSmithKline is one of the largest pharmaceutical companies in England. They basically they gave 23andMe $300 million because they want to use this, they want to use the data that they've collected to create better drugs, pharmaceuticals, therapies. I mean, there's just so much potential. Obviously our DNA tells us everything about us. So if you can understand that and you can create algorithms to kind of process things and figure out, what's causing what, and examining, our chromosomes, I think, absolutely. So for example, my primary care physician, which is a very sort of tech,
GoForward.com.
Yeah. They basically have asked me for my 23andMe raw data because that allows them to make better assessments. So if I'm sick or if there's something wrong with me, they can look at my 23andMe raw data and say, well, okay, these symptoms apply to 1 million different things, but based on your raw data, your 23andMe raw data, which I've given them, they're able to say, but you're predisposed to this, this, and this. So why don't we do some more testing to make sure that we can rule out this, this, and this? So that's the sort of thing that, who wouldn't want that? I mean, I just think that people are more into preventative care than ever. And you know, I think when some people have probably issues with giving their DNA to a company. Oh, why would you give your DNA? Listen, if you're worried about them cloning you, or you think, you know, they're gonna frame you, this isn't an episode of General Hospital. You know, like I said, they have 12 million samples now, and there's 8 billion people in the world, so there's a lot of room for growth, and they offer different services. That if you're really curious, you know, they connect you with family members that you didn't realize that you had. I mean, there's a lot that you can utilize and there's a lot of, you know, there's a lot of potential for new revenue streams for the company to provide to their customer base. But maybe you're just curious what your ancestry is. So Richard Branson, this VGAC SPAC, gave them about $700 million for 19% ownership of the company, which implies a valuation of $3.5 billion for 23andMe. Some people think that might be a little rich. I think if he takes this company where I believe he will, $3.5 billion is nothing. So I'm gonna get in now at $14 a share. I actually got in on Friday, and I'm gonna get in more. But I just thought, if people are curious about a company, you know, I always say buy what you know, buy what people are using. I know so many people that use 23andMe already. I use it myself, like I said. So for me, it ticks all the boxes. There's so much growth potential. It's the wave of the future. It's technology. It's everything that you'd want in a company. And it's got Richard Branson. So that's it. I'm gonna stop pushing 23andMe on you. I just want to say that, you know, I would get in on 23andMe now, because while the ticker's VGAC, because it's still a little cryptic to people, and for those who might not trust what a SPAC is, you know, they will trust it more when the ticker changes to ME come the second quarter of 2021. So get it now, because then it'll be all over CNBC. 23andMe is now, the merger is official. The shareholders voted on it. The ticker has become ME. And then everyone that's ever heard or used 23andMe is going to jump on the bandwagon. So I'm here to try to get you in a little bit early, because I think it'll rally on that news. Even if it rallies and comes back, I think that'll be an opportunity to sell. And that'll come in the second quarter of 2029. That's all I have for you now. This is Stock Bro, the real day trader of Beverly Hills. All right. Thanks, doggy. Thanks, dude.